Some of the most timeless R&B songs ever made were never meant to matter. They weren't written with purpose. They weren't crafted to last. They were jokes, ideas artists laughed at. Moments almost erased. But somehow, those same songs became the ones that refused to die. This is Beyond the Beat. And tonight, we're uncovering a hidden truth about R&B.
Now we're into a brand new trip. Everybody was kung fu.
That some of its greatest records didn't come from intention. They came from accidents, from pressure, from moments no one believed in. 5 songs that started as nothing, but somehow became everything. Number 5, Jungle Boogie, Kool and the Gang, 1974.
Get it up.
There's something almost chaotic about Jungle Boogie. It doesn't feel written. It feels discovered, like a moment captured instead of created. And that's because it almost was. In the early 70s, Kool and the Gang were stuck in a strange place. Respected musicians, but not yet dominant. They needed something raw. Something that didn't sound polished or safe. Their label pointed toward the growing global sound sparked by Manu Dibango's Soul Mikasa. A track that proved rhythm alone could cross borders. So they went into the studio not to write, but to feel. No overthinking. No structure, just groove. And then, the unexpected happened. That voice, get down, wasn't planned. It came from Don Boyce-Erodi. Not a trained vocalist, not part of the band's identity, just a presence captured in the moment. And that decision, almost random, changed everything. Because what they created wasn't just a song. It was a loop, a break, a texture, and decades later, hip-hop would hear that same thing. Not the full record, but pieces of it. The drums, the energy, the rawness. Producers chopped it, flipped it, rebuilt it. Because hip-hop doesn't chase perfection. It chases feeling. And Jungle Boogie was never clean enough to be forgotten. But here's where it gets deeper. The next song proves you don't even need lyrics to control an entire dance floor.
Yes, I did.
Number 5, Jungle Boogie, Kool and the Gang, 1974.
Do disco down and check out the show.
There's something almost chaotic about Jungle Boogie. It doesn't feel written. It feels discovered, like a moment captured instead of created. And that's because it almost was. In the early 70s, Kool and the Gang were stuck in a strange place. Respected musicians, but not yet dominant. They needed something raw. Something that didn't sound polished or safe. Their label pointed toward the growing global sound sparked by Manu Dibango's Soul Mikasa. A track that proved rhythm alone could cross borders. So they went into the studio not to write, but to feel.
Rock and roll band. I never had
No overthinking, no structure, just groove.
my boy. Lay down the boogie.
And then the unexpected happened. That voice. Get down, get down.
It wasn't easy.
It wasn't planned. It came from Don Boyce-Erodi, not a trained vocalist.
When they were dancing and singing and
Not part of the band's identity, just a presence captured in the moment. And that decision, almost random, changed everything. Because what they created wasn't just a song. It was a loop, a break, a texture. And decades later, hip-hop would hear that same thing.
I'm funkin' out in every way.
Not the full record, but pieces of it. The drums, the energy,
Music, white boy. Lay down
the rawness. Producers chopped it, flipped it, rebuilt it. Because hip-hop doesn't chase perfection. It chases feeling.
got to stop to feeling so low.
And Jungle Boogie was never clean enough to be forgotten. But here's where it gets deeper. The next song proves you don't even need lyrics.
But now it's so much better. It's so much better.
To control an entire dance floor.
But they fought with expert timing.
Number 3, Kung Fu Fighting, Carl Douglas,
In fact, it was a little bit
1974. If you strip this story down to its core,
fighting. Those cats were
it's about time, or more specifically, running out of it. The session was ending.
keep on, keep on, keep on, keep on. Shine.
The budget was gone, and the real song was already finished. What came next was just filler. Carl Douglas wasn't trying to create a classic.
There were funky Chinamen.
He was trying to finish the session. Producer Bid needed something,
Frightening. Yeah. But they fought with
anything for the B-side. So Douglas pulled out an idea
fast as lightning.
inspired by the explosion of martial arts culture,
But it was kung fu fighting.
driven by Bruce Lee and films like Enter the Dragon. But instead of respecting it,
From funky Chinatown, they were chopping
they exaggerated it, turned it into something almost theatrical,
expert timing.
almost cartoonish. Sound effects, over-the-top delivery.
Timing.
Because in their minds, no one was supposed to take this seriously. 2 takes later, it was done. But here's where it shifts. The world didn't hear a joke. They heard timing. A perfect collision between music
They were chopping them down.
and culture. And that's what made it explode. Because hits don't always come from effort.
There was funky Billy Chin and little Sammy Chan.
They come from alignment. Right sound, right moment, right energy.
In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
And hip-hop would later master this, catching waves
In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
and turning them into movements. But the next story is not about timing.
Those cats were fast as lightning.
It's about something even more unpredictable.
In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
Inspiration showing up when you're not even trying. Number 2, Car Wash, Rose Royce, 1976. There's something uncomfortable about this story. Because it forces you to question everything you think you know about creativity. Norman Whitfield was a perfectionist, a legend. A man who built hits with intention. So when he was asked to write a song about a car wash, he resisted it. Not because he couldn't do it, but because it felt beneath him. Weeks passed. Nothing. No melody. No direction. Until one ordinary moment changed everything. A studio break. Fried chicken. A casual basketball game. And suddenly, clarity.
Let me tell you, it's always
Not in a studio booth, but in real life. He grabbed a greasy paper bag
those rags and machines humming. Work and work.
and wrote what would become one of the biggest songs of the decade.
Sing it with me, car wash. Sing it with me,
And here's what makes it powerful. He didn't try to make it deep. He made it real.
car wash.
A working class rhythm, a mechanical groove, a song that sounded like movement.
And the boss don't mind sometimes. It
Like labor, like life. And that authenticity,
high fingers to the bone. Work if I can't wait till it's
that's the same foundation hip-hop would later stand on.
feeling your car wash.
Because hip-hop isn't built in isolation. It's built from observation. From everyday moments, from turning the ordinary into something unforgettable.
Let me tell you, it's always
And now, we reach number one, a song that didn't just become a hit.
those rags and machines humming. Work and work.
It became a bridge between worlds.
Boys in the band. She says that I'm her own.
Number one, Super Freak, Rick James, 1981.
That girl's alright with me.
Climax section. There's a difference between a hit and a legacy.
Backstage with her girlfriends in a limousine.
Super Freak was never supposed to be either. For Rick James,
Really like to taste her. Every time we meet.
this was just a moment, an afterthought at the end of a session.
She's a very kinky girl.
A song he described himself as something fun, something not serious. And maybe that's why it worked. Because for the first time, he let go.
My favorite. When I make my move to her.
No pressure, no expectations, just rhythm.
Yeah.
And that bass line, simple, infectious, unavoidable.
Three's not a crowd to her. She's
When it dropped, it hit, but not like a masterpiece, like a vibe.
alright. She's alright. That girl.
And then, years later, hip-hop found it, not the full song,
That kind you won't take home to mother.
just the essence. MC Hammer took that bass line, turned it into You Can't Touch This, and suddenly,
Her room is the right time. She's never hard to please.
that joke was everywhere again, bigger than before. Because hip-hop doesn't just create new sounds,
Room 714, I'll be waiting.
it reinterprets old ones. It finds the hidden power in moments that were overlooked
Ride with me.
and turns them into something permanent. That's the real story of Super Freak.
Silver freak.
Not the charts, not the awards, but the transformation. From a song that wasn't taken seriously to a sound that defined generations.
Oh, now. That girl is pretty wild now.
And in that moment, Rick James didn't just make a hit.
She's a super freak. Super freak. She's super freak.
He made something timeless, by accident. 5 songs, all unexpected, all underestimated. And yet, they became part of the soul of music itself. Because R&B has never just been about perfection. It's about feeling, about moments, about capturing something real, even when you don't realize it at the time. So let me ask you, which of these songs hit you differently? now that you know the story behind it? And what other R&B classics should we uncover next? If you felt this, stay connected, because beyond the beat, there's always a deeper soul.